In Cataclysm, there's going to be many different racial changes, but also the possibility to play new classes as the different races. The different racial changes I'll cover later in the video, but first I'll talk about the different classes you can play as each race. For Night Elf, you can play as a mage, Human has the possibility to play as a hunter, Gnome can play as a priest, and Dwarf 3 new classes, Mage, Shaman and Warlock. And when it comes to Drain Eyes, there's no changes. Just like humans, then Undead can also play as a hunter, and when we look at the Troll race, then we have the possibility to play as a Druid and a Warlock. For Tauren, Paladin and Priest, this is a massive change, because as a Horde player, you're no longer forced to play as a Blood Elf as a Paladin. No, you can also play this as a Tauren. Just like Night Elves, then Orcs can also play as a Mage, and Blood Elf as a Warrior. So every single race in the game can play as a warrior in Cataclysm, yeah, even the 2 new races, Worgen and Goblin. Worgens can also play as a Druid, so on the Alliance side, you also have the possibility to play as Druid as 2 different races, just like the Horde side, with Tauren and Troll. Next up is the different racial changes, and the racials you see to the right is how they are in Wrath of the Lich King, and hardiness is still the exact same in Cataclysm. This is the same case with Command and Blood Fury. It still has the same amount of cooldown and duration it lasts for. The only minor change is the X specialization, which increased your expertise by 3 in Cataclysm, where in Wrath it was 5. For Torrents there isn't a massive change as well. War Stomp is still the exact same, your nature resistance passive is being changed a bit. In Cataclysm you'll now reduce your nature damage taken by a small percentage. Endurance also increased base health by 5% in Cataclysm, and Cultivation is also still a thing that increases your Herbalism by 15. Trolls sadly won't see any changes whatsoever. Regeneration, the Voodoo Shuffle, Berserkering and Beast Slaying is still the exact same. Yeah, even your weapon specializations is also the same, still 1% additional crit with throw or bows. But then again, maybe it is a good thing there is no changes, because then you don't have to get used to any new racials. So what about Undeads? Will of Forsaken will be buffed in Cataclysm. Well, the cooldown it shares with other similar effects will be reduced from 45 seconds to 30 seconds. Underweather Briefing will stay the exact same, but your shadow resistance will change a bit. In Cataclysm, you'll reduce your shadow damage taken by a small percentage, and your cannibalism will still remain the exact same. In Cataclysm, Blood Elves can finally play as a warrior, and therefore Arcane Torrent also changes a bit. Now it will also restore 15 rage if you play as a warrior, and non-player victims will be interrupted for 3 seconds instead of 2. Your enchanting skill is still increased by 10 as a Blood Elf, and your magic resistance passive will see a change. Now it reduces all magic damage taken by a small percentage. But what about Alliance? Well, Drain Eyes will receive so many different changes. For example, reduced shadow damage instead of reduced chance to be hit by shadow spells. Heroic Presence will be nerfed. This will only increase your chance to hit by 1%, not all party or raid members within 30 yards, like it was in Wrath of the Lich King. Gift of Naru will see a buff, as it now heals the target for 20% of the target's health over 15 seconds. This is definitely a massive change, especially if you use Gift of Naru on your tank. And your Gem Cutting passive will see a buff, as it increases your jewel crafting by 10 instead of 5. For humans, there's no changes whatsoever, so if you're already happy about your racials in Wrath, well then I guess you'll also be happy in the next expansion. A race that will however see a change is Dwarf. Stoneform will be buffed. Instead of increasing your armor by 10%, now it reduces your damage taken by 10%. Your mace and gun specialization will stay the exact same. Your frost resistance passive will change. Now it will reduce your damage taken by frost spells by a small percentage, where in Wrath it reduced your chance to be hit by frost spells by 2%. Find Treasure has been removed or will replaced with Explorer. Explorer will increase the amount of fragments you loot when you do archaeology and also allow you to survey faster. Archaeology is a new profession in Cataclysm. What's also new is Short Blade specialization. This increases your expertise with daggers and one-hand swords as a gnome. Expansive Mind will be changed. Instead of increasing your intellect by 5%, then it will increase your mana pool by 5%. Escape Artist has been changed, or well, the cooldown has, because it has been reduced down to 1.5 minutes. And as at Gnome, you still have increased engineering by 15. And last but not least, instead of having increased resistance to arcane spells, then you instead take less damage from arcane spells. Night Elves doesn't see a massive change. Shadow Meld, Quickness, but also Wisp Spirit remains the same. Your nature resistance changes a bit, as it now reduces your nature damage taken by a small percentage, instead of reducing your chance to be hit by nature spells by 2%. Elusiveness will not only increase your stealth, it will also increase your movement speed by 5%. This is a minor change, but definitely a welcome one for rogues and druids. If you're interested in Cataclysm, then I would highly recommend you to also check out some of my other videos, or subscribe and like the video if you would like to see more content in the future. As always, thank you so much for watching and have an amazing day. Peace!